Hello. Welcome. My name is Timber Shabanda. I am the station manager of Black Power 96.3 FM here in St. Petersburg. We are a non-commercial radio station dedicated to giving voice to the African working class community in our struggle for freedom and self-determination. We're not just explaining the world, we're changing it. By being a voice in defense of civil and human rights of African community, by training working class Africans, young and old, to become professional radio broadcasters. We have some exciting news today to share with you. Right on. Beginning next month, the African liberation struggle will gain another weapon in the war of ideas.
Woo!
Pump it up.
Yes.
The All African Peoples Development and Empowerment Project will bring its own non-commercial FM radio station broadcasting at 100.1. Uhuru. FM in St. Pete. Back onto the airways with a new format featuring the complete library of speeches by Chairman Omali Ishatella, along with special presentations by other leaders of the African liberation movement, especially those advancing the mission of the All African Peoples Development and Empowerment Project. The station's call letters are WUBP, and its tagline is One Africa, 100.8 radio stations is an important victory in our struggle to take media. We are connecting with Africans around the block and around the world. We are building a network of African broadcasters. Lofty goes. I am very excited to introduce and welcome Dr. Aisha Fields, President of the All African Peoples Development and Empowerment Project. And welcome. Uhuru. They are going to tell us about WUBP, One Africa 100.1 FM, and then we are going to call on you to lend your support to make this station a great success. It's $3,000 to go back on air. So get your debit ubp.org. You can go right now, donate. So Dr. Aisha, what is the mission of All African? What is the mission of the All African? Your mission.
Uhuru.
Uhuru.
I really just want to appreciate having the opportunity to have this webinar and to be among comrades like Director Akilé and Comrade Timba, and so excited really to launch this new exciting radio station. And as Timba correctly stated, this is another arsenal in the war of ideas. In the war of ideas for who want to see African people united and want to see us really develop a future for our children. So I'm really excited. And as to your question, in order to establish community-based development projects that improve the quality of life, the project really recognizes that if people want to see an end to the poverty that exists not only in Africa, but in African communities right here in the U.S., and African communities in the Caribbean and Europe, and the African people find ourselves. If we read circles that are trying to, or that say that they're trying to grapple with this question of poverty or development in Africa and other places, if you really want to see that, then the key to that is for African people to have self-determination, for African people to once again be a self-determining people, for African people to be a self-reliant people once again, and for African people to have control over the resources of Africa that should be used to develop and create life for Africa and African people. And so the All African Peoples Development and Empowerment Project is an organization. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization that since 2007 has been working to organize African people wherever we may be located to contribute our skills to a process where we can create concrete African community-based programs around agriculture, around education, healthcare, and other development-related areas, recognizing that the skills that we have as African people do not belong to us as individuals, but that those skills belong to the African nation. And AAPDEP is an organization that for going on 12 years now, has been calling on African people to take our responsibility for the development of our communities, for the development of Africa, for the unity of Africa and African people, and to do that in really concrete ways by helping us to build programs like community farms, community gardens, clean water programs, youth educational programs, literacy programs, infant and maternal health programs, and a host of other programs that we know our people need to be able to not only have the quality of life that any human being deserves, but that will also help us to organize our people to recognize that we have the skills, we have the desire. What we lack as African people is organization. And as organization, that's going to be what takes us from where we are right now to the future that all African people want and deserve. So to give a long spiel about what we are, that's who we are in a nutshell. That is what AAPDEP is, and that's the work that we've been involved in since 2007.
Right on. That is funky dope. I'm very excited. I am so excited. And AAPDEP is one of my favorite organizations. I mean, all of them are my favorite organizations, but just the understanding of what AAPDEP is to do throughout the African nation is to take those skills that we have so many of in our community, and harvest those and put them into our own community, keep them and make us be able to use and access those skills for our own, for our own benefit. So that's, the strategy is absolutely brilliant, and I know that we Black Power 96 is welcoming you. We can't wait to welcome you onto the airwaves. We can't wait to be a sister station to our sister, so to speak.
Yes, we're excited about that too, and I'm glad you said that, because you did ask me what the significance is of using radio, to educate and connect African people. What the significance is of this new radio station that's coming, and I think that part of what this radio station will allow us to do is to really explain to African people and to the world the basis for the conditions that Africans are facing in the U.S. and Africa and around the world, to really give us an opportunity to talk to each other, because so many times, African people, when we look at it, we're really been made to be confused about how we find ourselves everywhere we are around the world in the worst material conditions. We're so confused about that, because everything that we've been told tells us that it's our fault. That we're experiencing the kind of poverty that we experience because we're lazy. We're experiencing the kind of poverty and violence that we're experiencing because there's something inherently wrong with African culture, or because we don't have a good relationship to money, or there's some failing on our part. And what this radio station, in part, will give us the ability to do is to really explain and give our people the truth. Because there's no way that we can really solve the problem if we don't understand the nature of the problem. If we don't understand how we got into this condition as African people, then there's no way that we can, develop a strategy that will help us to get out of it. So I think one of the most important things that this station will allow us to do is to, again, help us to explain the world, explain African people's place in it. And I think that's so critical. And another thing that this station is going to allow us to do is to provide practical information and training on issues like disaster response and survival programs. And I think that's really important, because if we look at how African people around the world are impacted by natural disasters, there's so many things that if we were not a dominated people, if we had the ability to use the resources of Africa and the genius of African people to build and create the infrastructure that our communities need, that our nation needs, then we would have the ability to manage to navigate, so-called natural disasters, which really we understand as imperialist imposed disasters, because you have all kind of earthquakes and other kind of situations that may happen in other parts of the world that don't impact other people the way they impact Africa and in African communities. You think about the earthquakes in Haiti. I mean, and there are earthquakes that happen in California and other places on a fairly regular basis that don't have the same kind of devastating effect because African people in our communities in Haiti and other places have not been developed. The infrastructure is not there. The emergency response systems are not there to alert people to take certain kinds of measures to say to take care of themselves, or even just to have the information for how to be able to move in certain emergency situations. And those are the kind of things that some of the kind of things that AAPDEP's new radio station will be able to regularly provide and train people on using the airways. And also talking about agriculture. How are we going to feed ourselves? Tips on growing indoors, or how to start a community garden, or what are the best things to grow certain times of the year in certain climates, and providing our people with with information that will allow us to secure the knowledge that that will help us to feed ourselves. And healthcare. What are the things that are impacting the African community in terms of our health that we need to have discussions about? And what are the kind of skills that we have in our community around healthcare that we can begin to mobilize using this radio station? I think those are things that are incredibly important. And education, we know that not only in the colonial school system do our children incredibly miseducated, but all you have to do is turn on the television or another radio station other than Black Power 96 to get the incredible, hear incredible lies about Africa and African people that impact the consciousness of our children and of all African people. And so this radio station will give us the ability to counter all of that. So I'm really excited about the possibilities, and I'm excited about what it is that we can do with this new weapon in the arsenal of Africa and African people who are fighting for a future for our people.
Well, I'm ready to shoot the weapon. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm ready to use it. I feel, Dr. Aisha feels, thank you so much for that. And I really appreciate that, because that brings, I feel after listening to what you're saying and how the radio station will be used, I feel more powerful as an African already. I feel like I will be prepared for whatever is going on in the world, and WUBP will be that vehicle which informs us, of our situation and how we can overcome any of these natural disasters, any of these colonial impositions that are imposed upon us. So I appreciate that. And so let's get over to Director Akilé Anai. What is the role of the Burning Spear Media in the launch of this new WUBP, One Africa 100.1?
Well, first and foremost, I really want to appreciate being a part of this webinar, and I want to salute the work of the All African Peoples Development and Empowerment Project, as well as Director Aisha Fields. It's such an incredible organization, and just to hear Director Aisha just tell us what the mission of this organization is, and what the projects that it's been doing, and what kind of programming is going to be on this radio station, and talking about what it means, because I mean, it's so profound, the organization and what the radio station is going to be doing as a tool of this organization and as a tool in the arsenal of the African Revolution. And defining the reality for African people and the solutions, it helps us to not be involved in this treadmill of fighting symptoms that will ultimately has us going nowhere. We have all these symptoms and and we're dealing with all these issues under colonialism, like they're like isolated events, and this brings us all together. It helps us to define the problem and says, okay, now we create the solution for ourselves. And I think that's so significant, that the most down, spat on sector of the human population, the African working class, is rising up saying that we're going to control our own voices and we're going to do this for ourselves, that we're going to define our own narrative, and we're going to come together as a nation and determine the solutions for our freedom. And I think that is incredible. And I think that's what we look at when we see the All African People's Development and Empowerment Project, and when we see 100.1 FM and our ability to seize the airwaves to put out this message, which is not a small feat for the African Revolution. It's huge. And so that's really exciting, and it brings it all back to the African community, and it gives us the power to do it. So, and Burning Spear Media is, the entity, as mentioned, I'm the Director of Agitation and Propaganda. So Burning Spear Media encompasses a lot of different institutions that, support the mission of putting out the work of the African People's Socialist Party, of the Uhuru movement, waging the war of ideas. It's a part of, that's what Black Power 96.3 FM is. That's what the Burning Spear newspaper is. It's our ability to be able to stream right now, through this capacity and we control all of these different entities. So Burning Spear Media is playing obviously a critical role in this, because we want this to advance the interests of African people and advance the African Revolution. And that's what Burning Spear Media is doing. And just some specifics. Burning Spear Media is the custodian, the publisher, and distributor of the speeches and writings of the African People's Socialist Party's chairman, Amali Eshatella. We've built a catalog of more than 250 speeches by the chairman, going back to some of his early presentations in the 1970s up to the most recent. Through our Vanguard AV services, we have also compiled recordings of the brilliant presentations made by our movement leaders, even people like Director Aisha Fields, at major conferences and conventions of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, African National Women's Organization, the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations, the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, and we are now partnering with the All African People's Development and Empowerment Project to get these speeches onto the radio airwaves. So we want everybody to be able to have access to them.
Yes.
We are also working together to launch a podcast called Black Power Talks. This podcast will provide on-demand access to the most dynamic and significant presentations available today to inform and guide our people's struggle. It will also be a resource made available to African-run radio stations throughout the world that are hungry for content that can inform and mobilize our people towards the unification and liberation of Africa and African people everywhere. And so, that's what we're calling on you all today to support this initiative that's being made by the All African People's Development and Empowerment Project, this project that is going to be advancing the revolution and getting this information to the hands of African people everywhere and all freedom-loving people everywhere that, are tired and so sick of the explanations that the white ruling class is trying to offer people about what it is they're seeing in the world. You see crisis happening and you see them trying to scramble for an answer, scramble for an explanation, and people are tired of it. People are not hearing it. It doesn't make any more sense. And then you hear what it is, the line that the party has been putting out, the chairman Amali Eshatella, the leader and founder, the person that's been involved in this struggle for, almost over 50 years, trying to advance the revolutionary project. Now we get to hear the perspective of the African working class. That is the worldview to which we have to look at the world, because that is the reality of the world. The reality of the world rests on the pedestal of African people, rests on our backs. So in order to free ourselves, we have to hear this explanation. We have to see through this worldview, and 100.1 is going to allow us the ability to do that. So we want to call on you to help support this project. We have to raise $3,000 to get this station back on the air, to make sure that we can do what it is that we're talking about, and it's going to be a dynamic station. Yes. As we mentioned, the programs that the All African People's Development and Empowerment Project have experts in will be telling and helping to inform African people within our colonies colonized communities how to, navigate through, all these different things that are imposed on us. Because it's not just we can't make the rent and, the police are in our community, but this stuff attacks us on every front through our health, through the food that we eat, they call it natural disasters. There's nothing natural about what's going on. But when we have hurricanes and mudslides and all of these things happening to African people everywhere, African people are always the ones that come, with the highest death toll numbers and all of these things. Infrastructure's totally wiped out. And so we're getting attacked on every single front. And so now we have this amazing organization, and we're going to be putting out this information on the airwaves, accessible to everyone, to be able to learn, okay, this is what we do in this situation, etc., all while advancing the Revolutionary Project, advancing to be a free, self-determining African people, so that we are, building our infrastructure for the new world. That's what it's about. So contribute to this project, donate to WUBP.org.
You got it.
WBP.org to help with this $3,000 goal. Let's put One Africa 100.1 FM on the airways, and let's accomplish this mission.
Don't you love that name?
I do.
One Africa 100.1.
Right.
It's a lot of ones in there.
Yes.
And African people are number one.
Yes.
Yes. But seriously, just to piggyback off of what Director Akilé was speaking of, and understanding what AAPDEP does for the African community, when you look at some of these natural disasters that has happened throughout the years, to let's say Hurricane Katrina, let's say what happened to the hurricanes in Haiti, in all these different situations, you had your ruling class, your imperialists, your colonial forces such as the Red Cross would come down there and would offer, in quotation, aid to African people, especially in Haiti. You go there and you see that the Clintons ran off with most of the UNICEF money and all this type of stuff. And so these agencies are not put there to help our people.
Right.
They're not there they're there to steal and loot and make a situation better for white power at the expense of our people, as they normally do. That's just the routine. So AAPDEP has ways and has strategies and programs implemented to help our people, genuinely help our people, not necessarily just help, but to teach self-determinations, teach these methods, and to institutionalize these safety measures to make sure that our people are able to survive, and not just survive, but come out of it, thriving. And that's the beauty of AAPDEP and its mission. And I just want, just to encourage everyone, $3,000, I'm quite sure it's about 3,000 people watching right now. That's just $1 a person. Come on, girl, go. Just let's do this. Let's do something great. Let's rise up as a nation. That's the name of the. Dang, man, I am on point today. One Africa, one nation. But let's rise up as a nation, and let's support our institutions, most definitely. And you can go again to WUBP.org. That is WUBP.org, and make that pledge. I donated. I wasn't gonna tell that, but I did donate. Did you donate?
I may know a little something, but
get into that until you. All right. So, Dr. Aisha, why is it important to advance the work of AAPDEP and the party? Are you there?
So you said, why is it important to advance the work of AAPDEP and African People's Socialist Party?
Yes.
I mean, I think that what we've been talking about tonight really should give everybody a good basic understanding of why any African or freedom-loving person should support AAPDEP and the African People's Socialist Party. And I would have to say it's because, first of all, the African People's Socialist Party, which leads the Uhuru movement, has developed the only theory and strategy, and overall organization capable of changing the world.
Yeah.
You know, capable of creating a future where nobody lives at the expense of everybody else, where African people have, have access to our resources so that we can create, the healthcare system, the educational system, the overall economic system that would ensure that, that people live, and African people live, the way that human beings should live. That we should have the ability to ensure that our children can eat and can eat well, and that we can have homes that are fit for people to live in, and that we can have that we can have the ability to use all of the skills and the energy and the expertise and the creativity that exists among African people to really create a future in a world that all human beings can enjoy, and I think that AAPDEP as an organization that was established by the party is one of those organizations that gives us an opportunity to see right now what a liberated Africa can look like in the future. It gives us the ability right now to use the skills that any of us have to be able to see measurable kind of improvements in the quality of life for our people right now, even as we're constructing this future, that we want, and so I think that I know before I met the Uhuru movement, I was somebody who always grappled with the question, always grappled with how can I make a difference? You know what I mean? And everything that was presented to me, okay, go to school and do the best you can in school and get as many degrees as you can, go as high as you can go, and then I don't know, get a job or start a business and then reach back. All those things, or travel the world and enjoy yourself, or whatever. All those things that I was told would be the things that would make me happy, or all those things that I was told, and that all of us are told, that would make us feel like our life is meaningful, or that we're successful, or that we're contributing meaningfully to society. They rang hollow to me because they were, and it wasn't until I met the Uhuru movement, African People's Socialist Party, that I saw and I could understand, how things got to be the way they were, where I felt like I had to make a contribution to the world to make things better. I understood how the world got like that, and then I could start to see my place in it, because this movement gives any human being, gives any human being the opportunity to use their unique skills or to grow and develop new skills that oftentimes we don't have access to, because most of the time African people are pushed out of any setting that is supposed to be something that offers us skills to be able to do anything. So it allows us to develop new skills. It allows us to use the skills and interests that we have to really make the only thing that I can see as a real, genuine contribution to humanity, and that is creating a future that, again, doesn't require one people to be able to have everything, while the majority of the world's people have nothing, while African people and other colonized people have nothing. So this is the place. If you want to make a difference, if you want to feel like your efforts are meaningful, your efforts are going to be appreciated, this is the place that you need to be. You need to be in this movement, and I definitely want to call on any African person who's participating in this webinar to consider joining the All African People's Development and Empowerment Project. Consider joining the African People's Socialist Party. We're making the call right now for this radio station. You can see the dynamic kind of process that this movement is involved in, creating real tangible solutions, creating real tangible opportunities for African people to be our best selves.
Yes.
Where else can an African person say that they can become a part of a radio station that is for and by African people, that's really working in the interests of our people? Yes. That's really been developed and created to serve Black people, not to pander to us, not to take our creativity and somehow warp it and make it something that is, doesn't serve us, but serves the interests of other people at our expense, but something that really calls on African people and encourages African people and helps to develop African people to be our best selves and put that on full display. Where else can that happen other than this movement?
Right.
And what other radio station other than Black Power 96 and WUBP 100.1 One Africa can you say really works in the interest of African people in that way?
That is amazing, Dr. Aisha Fields. And the thing you hit the nail on the head when you say where else can African people go, because I'm white people certified. I have a degree in from a university and all that type of stuff, and in radio. And when I went to the colonial radio stations, I got used. I got sucked up. They stole all my ideas, all my talents, and then kicked me out and made me fend for myself and I'm not able to work in this where I spent $45,000 for a so-called degree. I'm not able to use that in the so-called career field that I majored in. And now, what am I supposed to do? Mm-hmm. Spending all that money, student loans. I'm just more of a less powerful colonized African. I didn't have any power in the first place, but I'm really stripped of it now that I went to school to try to get the so-called power to elevate my life and get some upward mobility, and then everything is snatched from me, even though I've done everything that I was supposed to do for the system. Mm-hmm. and it wasn't until I met this movement, Black Power 96, allows me to use what I went to school for, whatever, but I'm using this as a way to not just have upward mobility for myself, but an upward mobility for my people. Not just mobility, but freedom, power. And so you don't get a chance to do that from anywhere else in the world but the Uhuru movement, especially if you're African. So I just really identify with what you're saying. And now, Dr. Aisha, what is your expertise? I wanted to. What did you go to school for, basically?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Your expertise is, of course, revolutionary, but yeah.
All right. Thank you for clarifying that for me, Conrad. But yeah, I went to school for physics. I got my doctorate in applied optical physics, and that was supposed to be what I was doing. I was supposed to be working for the U.S. government, War Machine, or some corporation. That was what I was supposed to be doing. That's what my skills are in. And I appreciate having had the ability to I guess see and go through, I guess, all levels of the colonial education system and take whatever it was that I could get from that that is helpful towards this the real thing that all African people need to be a part of, this African liberation movement. So I'm appreciative for whatever skills I've been able to glean that I can give, but at the end of the day, really what I have been able to see is that that the colonial education system does not, and I can say that from my own personal experience, and you can look at that from just what it produces when you look at the African community, is that it is not meant for us to be anything other than the best possible servants of imperialism. And so that's why I kind of had that response when you asked me the question, because at the end of the day, where I received my real training, where I have been receiving the real education that I hold closest to my heart and that I realize is the most meaningful is in this movement, this freedom movement for African people.
Our unite.
Uhuru.
Thank you so much. So, Director Akilé, you want to, we got some donors out there. You want to shout them out a little bit?
Of course I do, because I want everybody to take the stance of these amazing donors and contribute to WUBP.org right now to advance this mission. I mean, you guys have heard this dynamic discussion. Just hearing even the personal testimonies from Comrade Temba and Director Aisha about, the skills that, we possess, we're able to gain under this system and turn them back over into the African Revolution, back to our people, because they're not ours, that even the whole struggle for us to be able to be in these institutions, to, gain, whatever we can from them was not waged by our people back in the day so that we can go and sell out our communities later. They were, the struggles were made so that we can bring back these resources back to our community to free ourselves. Because in recognizing that all of the stuff it is that we learn and everything, they don't teach us this, but that's all our stuff. It's all of it stolen. And from the arithmetic and the things it is that we learn, it's all stolen genius, creativity, art, everything has been stolen from our people. And so this is a process of taking all of that back. So we want to thank those people who have contributed to this process of helping us take all of that back by contributing to this radio station. We have Comrade Olafin Ikemba out in St. Petersburg, Florida with $15. Guru Olafin. I believe Temba bragged earlier that he made a contribution, and it was $20. So thank you, Temba. Guru. We have Comrade Lisa Watson out in Minnesota with $100. Lisa.
Thank you.
$100 for 100.1 FM.
Ooh, I like it.
All right, drop your honeys. All right, so we have Comrade Santosh in St. Petersburg, Florida with $20. Uhuru Santosh. We have Comrade Sandy from Seattle with 100 for 100.1 FM. Uhuru Sandy.
Thank you.
We have Comrade Wendy out in San Diego with $25. Uhuru, Wendy.
Comrade Wendy. Uhuru. Thank you.
We have Alikia, who is currently repping Miami, Florida. We'll get to her back. We'll get back to her on that. We donated $10. Uhuru, Alikia. And we have Comrade Ali Aiello from Boston, Massachusetts with $10. Uhuru, Ali. We have Comrade David Lance with $10 from St. Petersburg, Florida. Uhuru. We have Janice Kant in St. Petersburg, Florida, and she can and did contribute $50 today. Uhuru.
Right on.
And we have Comrade Penny Hess, the chairwoman of the African People Solidarity Committee, who is in St. Pete, but is now but really St. Louis, with a contribution of $50. So, Uhuru.
Thank you.
The tale of two saints. And then we have Comrade Deputy Chair Ona Zinea Shatella with $100. And I want to go ahead and read some of these comments really quickly.
Some of them good.
Yeah, well, they're all really amazing. Yes. Comrade Timba said, we need our own black media for our own black hands. We had Comrade Lisa said, can't wait for One Africa 100.1 to be on the air. Sandy says, salute to WUBP, One Africa 100.1 FM, another weapon in the war of ideas in the hands of the African working class. Reparations now and forever.
Right on.
Comrade Wendy says, the voice of the African nation must be heard. Comrade Alikia says, I believe in the vision of AAPDEP and know that One Africa 100.1 will help forward the work necessary to liberate Africa and African people worldwide. Right Hashtag on. One Africa, One Nation. She got it. Yeah. Comrade David says, self-determination is key.
Right on.
Comrade Penny says, victory to One Africa 100.1 FM, reparations now. Comrade Deputy Chair Ona Zane says, Uhuru, as president of your sister organization, the African People's Education and Defense Fund, AAPDEP, I want to support this radio station to continue to carry the legacy of the African working class, who in most cases don't have access to these this political analysis that helps us to change the world, and this is what 100.1 FM is here to do. I unite with AAPDEP in all of its development and programs. Uhuru!
Woo!
So keep your contributions coming. Keep those comments coming. We do want to read them and recognize them throughout this program. So thank you all so much. And so far we have raised $530 tonight for our overall $3,000 goal for this radio station. So thank you all so much so far. And we want to go ahead and, start to talk about a little of what kind of presentations can be expected from WUBP. And we kind of talked about a little bit of, what it is that we'll be able to see. Black Pride 96 really has their ear in regards to, like, the local talent, pop culture. We're trying to redefine popular culture and things like that. But 100.1 is actually going to be playing some oldies but goodies.
Yes.
So some of those things that y'all played on record players with the vinyls, like we'll be playing that kind of music on 100.1 FM. But just to give you a little taste, right? So already posted to wubp.podbean.com. We have a 30-minute documentary on the first World Tribunal on Reparations for Black People, which was organized by the African People's Socialist Party and held in New York City in 1982. So you hear all this discussion about reparations happening today. You have presidential candidates talking about reparations. Well, that work started right here in the African People's Socialist Party. It includes excerpts from the chairman's opening statement as people's advocate and from testimony by political prisoner Mufudi Lake, Panther 21 member Afeni Shakur, now well known as the mother of Tupac Shakur, Professor Leonard Jeffries, and others. This tribunal was a major landmark in our party's decades-long work to make reparations a household word. We are preparing a whole series of recordings from the 12 sessions of the World Tribunal that compiled extensive testimony and evidence backing up the original guilty verdict. We also have numerous presentations on the question of reparations as a revolutionary demand. Other presentations by Chairman O'Malley that will be provided for broadcast on WUBP One Africa 100.1 FM and available on demand through the podcast. On the question of the African nation, his explanation of African internationalism versus Pan-Africanism, his early speeches delivered to Africans in London to build the African Socialist International, his historic speech to the Pan-African Congress of Azania in 2002, speeches from the 1980s explaining the military defeat of the Black Revolution of the 60s, and the party's strategy to bring the Black working class back into political life, which Chairman O'Malley, I should tell, has successfully done. His powerful summations of the Obama presidency, his dynamic exposés of neocolonialism inside the U.S. and around the world, his presentations to African audiences in Sierra Leone, Kenya, South Africa, or occupied Azania, Ghana, and more. We will be making available audio files of the chairman's entire class on dialectical and historical materialism. And if you guys haven't checked out that class, you guys can actually, on Burning Spirit TV YouTube, check those out. We will also be offering many topical presentations where the chairman brings African internationalism to life. So no more conspiracy theories or anything like that. We can just talk about what is real, right? So 9/11 and the so-called war on terrorism, the origins of Santa Claus and the slave trade of African people, the U.S. invasion of Grenada and overthrow of the popularly elected government there, the significance of the Black Panther Party founder Huey P. Newton and the government's role in his assassination, the role of African women in the Black Revolution, the role of police containment and mass incarceration in the colonial oppression of African people, the role of electoral politics in the African Revolution, know a little bit about that. His popular speech called, "If Jesus was a revolutionary, why is your preacher such an Uncle Tom?" The chairman's take on the OJ trial and the big opinion divide between the African and white populations. The issue of Black community control of education, the role of white people working under the leadership of the party in solidarity with African liberation. With the podcast, no matter where you are, you can browse the available speeches and listen to them on your schedule, in the car, at the gym, while you're cooking or doing the dishes. You can also opt to automatically download new speeches to your computer or mobile device as they are uploaded each week to the podcast, and then you can listen to them later, even if you are in a location without good internet bandwidth. So, that is all those exciting presentations that will be featured on 100.1 FM as well as on demand in our wubp.podbean.com. And that is also an initiative that's going to be supporting on 100.1 FM. So this is such an amazing, listen to those presentations. And like Comrade Director Aisha said, where in the world are you going to hear anything like this, other than these radio stations, other than One Africa 100.1 FM. So we have to donate. We have to contribute to this goal. So we want to be able to acknowledge Comrade Raya Fogarty in St. Louis, who donated $20. Uhuru, Comrade Raya. And she says, I want to contribute to the independent African working class worldwide struggle for self-determination. I want to do my part in building a world without oppressor and oppressed. Reparations to African people is a revolutionary demand and act. Thank you for this opportunity to show real white solidarity with Black power in material reality. Uhuru Raya. So, turn it back over.
So, yes. I need... Let me check this out.
Okay.
For some reason. All right. So we want to most definitely thank all our donors. Thank you so much, everyone out there, and continue to donate, continue to give. And as Director Akilé had so eloquently spoken, read off the list of programs and the speeches. My God, it's some of these things, like it's something for everything. Like everything is being addressed, and you can get that revolutionary opinion or facts. It's not an opinion. These are really facts, and check it out. And Chairman O'Malley is an excellent speaker, writer, and revolutionary. Theoretician. Right on. We knock on wood. Said it twice. We said it at the same time. So, Director Akilé, are there ways for volunteers to get involved in this?
Well, we always have many opportunities for, because we want to be able to get this radio station on the airways, but we also want people to be able to put their hands, take these skills that you've learned and all this stuff and apply them, put your hands to brick and lay the foundation. We want you to be able to do that. So many of the speeches mentioned, they need to be reviewed to make sure that they are FCC compliant. In other words, no cursing and no commercial pitches or election endorsements. Some of them need to have their audio quality checked and improved. So WUBP One Africa 100.1 FM and the Podcast Project are in need of speech reviewers and editors. To review a speech, all you need is a way to play an MP3 and fill out a form letting us know about any editing needs. The actual editing is done through audio editing software, and we can train you if you want to take on this work. So, if you have a real big fascination with history and you love this type of stuff, this is a perfect project for you. All those history buffs out there want to learn about revolution, want to learn about this and even just this analysis, this breath of fresh air analysis on the different events that have occurred throughout history. If you're really interested in this, you can help with this project, reviewing these audio clips so that we can be able to, put them out on the air, making sure they're FCC compliant, and so that everybody can get access to them. So if you are interested in that, go ahead and let us know in the comments section. Say that you're interested, and we will have somebody reach out to you to join this team to help with this project. So, Director Aisha Fields.
Yes.
So
I'm glad that Comrade Timba talked about volunteering, because we're also in need of graphic designers. We need promoters, and we need syndication researchers. And we really want to get the word out far and wide about the podcast, so we want to promote this through social media. And we also want to build our network of African radio broadcasters around the world as part of our mission to collectivize our skills and to promote self-reliance and self-determination as key to genuine, sustainable development. So anybody who wants to get involved in the work to build WUBP, One Africa 100.1 FM, can contact us, and I really want to encourage people to do this. Really, don't hesitate. If this is a process you want to be a part of, we're calling on you to join us. And you can contact us by email at info at wubp.org. That's info at wubp.org. Or you can call us at area code 727-824-5700, 727-824-5700. And I really just want to say that I appreciate everybody who's tuned in today, and everybody who's already donated. We absolutely have to raise the entire amount of $3,000 by October the 20th. So please share this with your friends. Please encourage everybody you know to go to our GoFundMe page and donate generously.
Yes. And we're going to thank you, Dr. Aisha Fields, for that, and Director Akilé, most definitely, and all of you out there. We're going to close out for now. We'll be back. Don't worry about it. We'll be back. Don't cry. Just put some more money into the accounts and help us get to where we need to go. But I would just really want to thoroughly congratulate the All African People's Development and Empowerment Project on the relaunch of WBP. WUBP 100 One Africa. One Africa 100. Forgive me, One Africa 100. We at Black Power 96.3 FM are happy to join the local airways, or be joined on the local airways by another voice of African liberation. We look forward to adding some of the speeches that will be on the podcast and into our own broadcasts as well. So this is going to be a great step for all of us. Help Black Power 96 grow, and also WUBP as well. So.
For real. And before we close out, I too want to just express my appreciation for all of the people who made contributions today. I want to thank you all so much.
Yes.
You brought us $530 closer to our goal, so we only have $2,470 to raise before October 20th.
Cool.
So thank you all so much. We have one more coming in. Sweet. We have Comrade Kitty Riley in St. Louis with $25. Comrade Kitty. So it seems like she has a comment coming, but I also want to appreciate Director Aisha Fields and congratulate the All African People's Development and Empowerment Project for the relaunch of One Africa 100.1 FM. For anybody who has not donated already, you can go to WUBP.org, share with your friends, say, you know what, this is a dynamic project, and we have to support this. We have to support this institution. It's a Black-owned institution, but it's more than Black-owned. It's a Black power institution. Yes. Putting out the work and the word of the African working class. So it's really important that we support this and that you get as many people on board to support it as well. Comrade Kitty says, love AAPDEP and Zenzele, both powerful African working class institutions. Reparations now. Looking forward to the oldies but goodies on 100.1. So... really exciting. You guys dropped that 100 for our 100.1 FM. You guys are going to be, just totally blown away by the content on this station and the work of the All African People's Development and Empowerment Project. No other organization, no other movement is doing what it is that we are doing. We are engaged in a very tough, heavy war of ideas, especially as this system crumbles all around us. This now more than ever, this information, the theory of African internationalism, the work of Chairman Amalia Shatella, the work of the All African People's Development and Empowerment Project and the Uhuru movement is so critical. This has to get out into the hands of the people in this world who are trying to fight for a better future, something totally different from what it is that we've been confronted with for the last 600 years. So you guys can participate in this project today, in your lifetime. Go to WUBP.org and contribute to the relaunch of this amazing station. Uhuru.
Uhuru. And what I want to do is just again thank everyone for donating. And this is WUBP. I can't, that's kind of catchy. WUBP.
When it gets a little jingle, you'll be able to remember.
One Africa 100.1. So yeah, and that's going to do it for us today. And what I saw some other stuff over here. Want to send a shout out to some of the behind the scene folks.
Oh yeah.
You want to our cameraman and live stream engineer, Kyle Weiss.
Uhuru.
Our stage decor setup and also distribution manager of the Burning Spear, Olafin Ikemba.
Uhuru.
We had for the Burning Spirit article on theburningspirit.com. Want to send a shout out to Sandy and Kota.
Hooroo.
And you don't want to forget about. Go ahead.
Oh, I was about to say our moderator of the chats, and you got and very significant member of this team, Comrade Lisa Watson. So that can wrap us up.
And also you, Director Akilé, for doing some behind the scenes stuff on social media. Thank you. So that's it, and continue to donate. The website is open 24 hours, 7 days a week. So go ahead and dump some money, drop some. What you say? 100.
Drop some honeys. 100 for 100.1.
Yes.
Sorry.
And you can even do 100.1 cent.
Yeah.
All right.
If you're feeling fancy.
Yes, if you're feeling fancy. So, but really, seriously, thank you everyone for tuning in, and the support was amazing. This is what the power of the African working class, the genius of the African working class, put together, and being led by the African working class. You see what we can do in a little bit of time. And just want to again thank Director Aisha Fields, Doctor. I was trying to get the doctor, but Doctor Director Aisha Fields, comrade, and also Director Akilé as well, and just everybody out there. Thank you so much, and
Hooroo.